I'd like to introduce our next speaker. But before that, how many of you students are interested in online gaming? Well, we have got something just for you. Zerah Gonsalves, who is a trailblazing esports personality and gamer with over 15 years of experience. She has established herself as one of the few women to achieve such prominence in the gaming industry. Her career began as an online esports presenter, and she quickly ascended to influential positions, including CEO of LXG India, Head of Operations at D11 Gaming, and Head of Talent at Nodwin Gaming. Her impact reaches across India and the Middle East, where she has led operations for multiple esports companies. Currently, she has her own gaming creative agency and serves as the Head of Operations for Warrior Streaming Brazil, which recently expanded into the Indian gaming sector. Zerah Gonsalves is deeply passionate about the integration of gaming into mental wellness and is committed to reshaping the perceptions of the gaming industry, striving to bring this dynamic niche into the mainstream. Can we please have you on stage, ma'am?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. So I'm here to speak to you about a very, very interesting subject. I can see all the kids already quite excited. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I truly am very honored to be here. I speak about esports and gaming quite often, but hardly to children and hardly to parents. And most of them always tell me that, oh my God, you should talk more to parents about gaming, because they really believe that it's a complete waste of time, or it's like just passing time. But in today's age and time, I have seen more elders play video games than children. And the fact of the matter is that children don't have that much time to play video games. So I want to start off with just simply saying that whatever I say today, please take it positively. And don't worry, gaming in the future is going to be used more for social reforms. They're going to be used more for the improvement of humanity. And by the end of this talk, I think you will understand that it is not a pastime. It is a legitimate career. Today, I know so many people in this world who are thriving in this industry. And I hope that some of the kids from here go home today and tomorrow are esports veterans, athletes, and can take India to the next level. So I want to start off with a very personal story. I was, like you guys, very young. Has the screen changed? Sorry. Yeah. So I'm going to start off with a very personal story. I was about 13, 14 when I played my first online video game. I was this young girl in a very dark room at about 2 in the night. And my mother would open the door and see me playing this virtual battle and be, screaming on my headset, telling them, we need to go and attack that tower and go kill those army men. And she used to always wonder, what am I going to do in my life? Because my daughter really is only seeming to be in virtual battles. But today, the Indian esports industry is in billions of dollars. I don't know how far you know that, but today in India, there are 588 million gamers. Most of them are young, because India is a young country today. 60% of our population is below the age of 28. But the remaining population also plays a lot of video games. I could today ask a question that how many women over here play Candy Crush? And I could get at least 15 hands up saying that yes, we do. Same way, I also want to first explain to you what is the difference between gaming and esports, right? So gaming is entertainment. It's simply a way to have fun after a long day of work. Esports, on the other hand, is electronic sports. It's very similar to gaming, but it's in a place where you're going to make money out of it, or you're going to win a tournament, or you're playing it as a professional sport. So that is the first difference. When people say, I'm a gamer, they love to play video games. But when they say I'm an esports athlete, that means they play as a professional sport. Similar to how we have cricketers today in the team, they're given that same respect. Moving on. Sorry, I always go backwards. So now let's talk about a little bit back in history, right? When we go back to, say, the 2000s, India had really bad internet, Okay. I think in Ahmedabad, the only great internet that I had was BSNL. It was really bad, guys. For the ones who were born after 2005, you have no idea. You're in a very good generation. BSNL used to give you 300 ping. Now, what does that mean, right? If you're playing a video game and say that I've said hi to you, you would see it after 2 seconds, right? If you're playing cricket, someone has thrown the ball and you can't see the ball for the next 2 seconds. That's what's bad internet, right? And similar to that is what we call lag. This is a word you would have heard very often in today's time. I am lagging. I can't see what's on my screen. This is buffering. It's not going ahead. Now, in today's time, we have very good internet, thanks to Jio. We got to give them that. And through COVID, we did see a huge change in the way gaming was perceived in our country. It was a way of social bonding. And that's where I saw the change in India. Today, we have big esports teams in India. We have big organizations that send teams internationally to take part in tournaments. We also have participated in the Asian Games as esports as a title, and India won bronze. So that's like a big achievement. But how many people really know that? I don't think a lot. Is there a need to talk about this subject and grow it? I believe absolutely. I believe that gaming is the future. Like traditional sports, esports has grown leaps and bounds globally. If you look at Korea, China, Japan, they are way ahead of us. Over there, their esports athletes come flying in helicopters. They land and just like Hollywood celebrities or Bollywood celebrities, they're all cheered on and, given so much of importance. We did see that switch during the pandemic. You would have heard of this game called PUBG. Everybody was playing it. Everybody. Like my maid's son, he was coming in asking for autographs of PUBG players. I've never seen him do that for anybody else. And they were quite excited about it. So gaming has changed. And with PUBG came other games. You would have noticed around 2 years ago, our government banned certain games. PUBG was banned. We had another game called Free Fire that was banned. But instantly after that, you also saw the coming of BGMI, which was Battlegrounds Mobile India. It was PUBG, but made specifically for India, right? And with that, we saw how the Indian ecosystem really flourished with gaming. Today, we have tournaments that go into crores. We have people who are YouTubers who are making 15 crores a year just streaming live video games. So is it a legitimate career? You could think about it. Over time, we have also seen the growth in the esports industry in one phase, but at the same time, we've also been put into a position of facing lots of challenges. Recently, you would have also heard about this big discussion on skill-based games and chance-based games, and we should put 28% GST on all gaming, and everybody is very confused. What are they talking about? What is this conversation? The challenge is that when a country doesn't understand a subject too clearly, it leads to a lot of dilemmas. And those dilemmas need to be cleared. Is poker considered a esports title? No. It's a card game. Is chess considered an esport title? Yes. Is Call of Duty or Counter-Strike considered an esport title? Yes. Is Ludo considered an esport title? Yes, if it's played professionally. What is chance-based game? Is where there is no amount of skill used to win, right? That's how we consider a chance-based game. We consider it as anything that does not involve strategy, does not involve, in my words, brain power to get an end result. And with that comes the challenges of government policies, because most of our government policies assume that both are the same. And in recent times, we have seen this differentiation come into the market. We have seen that esports has been given the right amount of respect. And I would say that would be very recent. On August 15th, our Honorable Prime Minister, if you had heard his address to the nation, he did talk a lot about gaming and esports. He spoke about how India can be the next hub for gaming, how we have so many big game developers sitting in our country, more than 3,000, But most of them will make games that are very easy to play. They will never try to take the risk of making a very heavy game. There are two reasons to that. The first reason is that when you want to make a very big game, you got to have a lot of money. Take a game like GTA 5, Grand Theft Auto. It's been there in the market for the last, I don't know, donkey's years. Each time they make that game, it costs $2 billion. Does India have that kind of money? I don't think right now. And that's why government policies are important. We need the government to make the right regulations so we can have the private sector invest in games like that. We could show the world that India can be home to bigger AAA titles, and that would be the first step. The second most thing that's very important is infrastructure. I don't think right now anybody sitting here would ever have been to a gaming zone. We've heard about gaming cafes, but you wouldn't have been hearing about gaming zones, spaces where you can just go play with your friends and just have a good time, have teachers teach you, have mentors talk to you about the subject. Today, most kids, if they say, I want to play a game, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, don't do that. Do anything else in the world, but don't do that. But if they say, I want to watch TV, they'll be like, oh, please go do that. Go watch TV and eat your food. But if you mention the term gaming, it's never related to education. And that's where my next point comes in. How important is it for all of us? My screen is not changing, sorry. But how important it is for all of us to get rid of these particular stigmas in the market, you know? If we think about it, in my whole career as a lady, as a woman, I started 15 years ago, there were a lot of problems I faced. The fact that the first thing you will hear anybody say is that, oh my God, she's a lady, why is she even playing games? She should be making a sandwich in the kitchen. Most famous dialogue you will hear online from all men. And I told them I don't know how to cook. Never made anything in my life. So just like how I started off with the complete negativity towards the subject that you should not play video games, this is a waste of time, women don't play video games. It's very stereotypical to put people into brackets very fast. And everybody does that. Inclusivity, diversity is negligible in the country when it comes to gaming. And that is the first reform that we need to talk about. The fact that we have to let everybody feel welcome. We have to let, whether you're by gender, by ability, by thought, it should be open to everyone. Gaming from traditional sports is only different over the fact is that it's not physical. And what I mean by that is you don't know who's on the other side of the screen. You just know how good they play or how bad they play. And that should be the only reason why you judge someone. You don't judge them because they had long hair, short hair, or they have some disability or they can't think. Or it's none of that. Gaming is so open, and even though there's so much diversity inside the game, outside the game, the storyline is very different. So the first thing that we need to change is let's get gaming a conversation to talk about. It's not a bad subject. It's rather a very exciting one. I've been passionate about it. That's why I've had the drive to go on and keep telling the world that no matter what, I'm going to be working only in gaming. But for a lot of others, especially the young ones here, it's not going to be that easy. And you may not have that same passion as me. But don't let that stop you from following your passion, right? Like if you were a chess player, everybody would have admired you, saying, wow, what a great guy. But if you say you are a PUBG player, everybody's going to be like, oh my God, what are you doing with your child? Figure it out. He's in the wrong column of life. But that needs to change, right? Another thing that needs to really change is this attitude towards gaming. Is it really a waste of time? I don't think so. But can we change that social perspective? It's going to be very hard. And the only way it can change is if people see value in it more than entertainment. And that is something that I've realized over time, that people in the industry need to start talking about the subject differently. They need to start saying that it's not entertainment, but it's also a very social activity. Today, a lot of people who are above the age of 70, it's proven research, that if they play video games every day, it helps them with their cognitive abilities. People who have Alzheimer's have better memory today because of gaming, right? So if in the elders it has an effect, it also has an effect in youngsters. You learn such great teamwork when you're playing strategy games. Playing alone is different. That's completely you. But when you play esports, you play with more than 4 or 5 people. You have to coordinate with them. You have to communicate with them. Like my fellow speakers also spoke. It's not about just being alone, isolated in a room or as a couch potato and eating chips and playing games. No, that theory needs to leave the building. You have to be very agile. Even your teammates have to be able to understand what you're saying. If you can coordinate inside the game, the same people in real life will help you coordinate in real life. And that is very important to understand. That if we don't look at it as a subject of improving life, we will always think of it as a degradation in life. In 1970s, reading a newspaper was also called addiction. In 1990s, watching TV was called an addiction. Today, using your mobile phone is called an addiction. But gaming is not an addiction. Some people say that, oh, my child plays for 10 hours a day. I can't do anything about it. He's addicted. I do tell them that in the end, it also comes to the responsibility of parents. If your child was playing cricket for 10 hours a day, wouldn't you bring him back? Can he physically play cricket for 10 hours a day? I even doubt that. But it all comes down to if the parents understood what the product was, they wouldn't feel so scared that their child would be living in that direction. And with that also comes the thought that how far can we look at this, right? Can we really even put gaming into education? I think yes. Today, if you look at Korea, to teach history, the children play Minecraft. They play Minecraft, they learn geometry, they learn history. The whole process of education gets gamified. And children no longer have to hold those books and learn those lines, and they visually understand how the process works. And that is the new way of learning, And if we don't move towards that, we're just constantly going to live in a world where, children just don't know how far they can study because we are not opening up the world for them to really learn more. AR, VR, very common today. Tomorrow, you're going to be learning how to make something in the kitchen, for example, through an AR, VR headset. You can paint inside AR, VR, you can draw, you can create new worlds. Children today make their own video games in different parts of the world using AI. So you have to change and evolve with times. And it's not that gaming is going to disappear. If today India is sitting at 588 million gamers, tomorrow that number is going to go to 600, it's going to go to 700. Will you be part of that moment? Or will you say, no, I'm just not going to be involved? Whichever route you choose, you then have to live with the consequences because the world is moving and the world is for the young. It's not for the old. It's similar to how when mobile phones came in. Everybody said, I'm not going to do that. But now no one can live without their mobile phones, right? So that's how I would like to take you through my last slide, that we should also talk a little bit about how schools should have esports courses. I believe it's very important. Having the right esports coaching, having the right scholarships for esports athletes are very similar to scholarships for traditional athletes. If we can go ahead and make that something legitimate, it will really drive the way youngsters look at esports and gaming. Government rules and regulations, very, very important. Today, we have very less resources in our industry because the government is on two fences about this, And the third more thing is being a little bit more understanding to the youngsters who play these games. You have to support them. You have to realize that just because we don't understand technology, the way those children have grown up with technology, we have to be a little bit inclusive to that idea. We cannot say that only if you become a lawyer or a doctor or this, you're going to succeed. Today in the world with computers, there are endless amount of possibilities. Just in my industry, today we have jobs from analysts, marketeers, game developers, content creators, operations heads, vagera, vagera. They say there's so many options in the world, but it's only about giving that child the opportunity to at least take that risk and try it. My parents always taught me that if you want to do something and you truly believe in it, you do it. And if it fails, but at least give it a chance. And that chance took me 15 years now. I'm, by the way, only 30 years old. So it's like, I don't look that old, I know, but 15 years, that means when I was your age, I started my first content challenge on YouTube. I failed because there was no internet. I failed again because nobody in India understood that we needed Indian servers to play games. You can't play on a server in Australia and expect yourself to have fun. And servers are core because without servers, you can't play inside the country. So that means you're playing at a very high ping. And that is scary, right? But in today's time and age, we see big publishers come into India. They're setting up servers. They're setting up different gaming setups. But at the end, Indians also need to start looking at this industry as a very forward-looking zone. We need corporations to understand, support esports, support tournaments, support teams that want to form and go play international tournaments. Next year, when we have the Olympics, India is going to go to play the esports event. Are we prepared? We're really not, but we have to try and find a way. And with that, I just want to end with 3 important things to keep in mind when you guys are looking at the future. The first one, also keep a keen eye on government policies. You read about them, go support them. Check for player rights. All young kids need player rights. No one talks about this. But if somebody is joining the esports industry, they need to know what their rights are. Will they be paid on time? Will they get a job? Who's going to be giving them the jobs? Are we having enough mentors, teachers to accompany these kids, to teach them the right way? Very, very important. The second thing is societal norms, right? For kids today, don't try to bully the other ones saying, oh my God, you're a girl, or you just can't understand what video games are. It's not like that. Right now in India, statistically, there are 50% female and 50% male gamers. That number is the same. So that needs to also be inclusive. And of course, be a great team player. Because together, we can really change the way India is in esports and gaming. But it all starts with that first positive thought that it's not a pastime. It is a legitimate career. And if we decide to understand that, tomorrow, we can be the hub for the biggest gaming events all over the world. Thank you so much.